As you might be aware that Sorer has three global platforms for manufacturing. One is at Germany, then we have at China, and the third is in India. Uh, the German plant never stopped, although it had slowed down because looking into the market, situations. So it never really stopped. So it is even now continuing production and slowly because we are only producing what we know what we sell. China had naturally stopped. Everybody knows about it. They went through one of the worst phases, but since last month they are on the job. Movement of people are also now allowed. So by production has almost come to a good capacity. It depends upon the global markets how they respond. So China is okay. China plant is working well. Karjan, of course, due to the lockdown, we were stopped, but we started with effect from 4th of May after the government notifications came. So we have conformed to all the stipulations issued by the local district administration, and we started. It was a huge effort because we had to plan about at least 2 weeks in advance to take care of the sanitization, transport, canteen, the number of people who would come. Have one eye on the vendors, the third, and next on the finished goods. It was quite complex, but I'm quite proud that our team, my HR, finance, controlling, my plant head, the plant people, at all levels, they chipped in, and even my contractors. I was so proud to see that everybody understands the situation in the same breath, and we all are on the same page. So we were able to start it. As we talk, the first two machines have already been sent to Nhava Sheva port. They are already inside the port, and they will catch the vessel on the 16th of May. So with this, we have already started. This is our export to Mexico. So air shipments are naturally not coming in. So we are trying to route everything through the sea shipment route. So that's happening. In fact, my logistic team is quite agile, and very actively they are keeping all the transporters, the clearing forwarding agents on standby. So yeah, Sorer is on. I mean, we all know, see, the COVID-19 crisis has impacted the entire world, and then Sorer is no exception to that situation. There are capacity losses going even up to 50% in various companies. Sorer also will lose. We would lose our targets this year by not less than 35%. To be on a very conservative side, it would go higher also, because nobody in their wildest dreams, had thought of this current situation. We thought that this was only a plot for the movies, and but it is happening. So it's a learning every day. It's a challenge every day, and although we have been geared up for encountering the worst scenario, this is almost like a disaster management situation for everybody. So certain orders have got postponed, certain orders, but not cancelled. We have been quite sympathetic with our customers, even though LCs have been opened, with mutual agreement. Sorry, we are trying to postpone the deliveries, but keeping an eye that the shipment should take place, because today it's very difficult to even get the shipment moved. There is limited shipment. There are a lot of countries from where the shipments are going in a very slower manner. The costs have gone so high. So all this put together, the textile machinery manufacturers have a lot of challenges, en route to delivering this machine, which was hitherto very simple. We are trying to balance our capacity utilization across the world, because we have we have different kind of capacities, and naturally all the capacities may not be utilized. So based on the expertise, we are trying to do that balancing, because that would also result in lower inventories, and naturally the cost, because today everybody is looking at cash management, and it is going to become very important. So Sorer has that capability, and that we are trying to go the lean and the agile way. We are trying to go the multi-skilling way. We are trying to multi-skill our workers in our processes, so that we can do more in less. From that perspective, we were also preparing ourselves for the customers, because naturally they are at the end of the at the chain, and they are the people who get affected the most, and they also have this fear in their mind, because like I said, nobody had encountered this kind of a thing. They do not know what tomorrow would hold for them. We have been in high gear proactively before the lockdown also started. In fact, we had all the SOPs ready. for how to stop the machines because they are going to be stopped for long. So all category wise, we had built them. Our service team was absolutely on high alert and standby. The service heads had instructed each of these service. We instructed our sales guys to be in touch with the customers on a day-to-day basis, give them comfort wherever possible. We also distributed these SOPs, these directives, and then we had a personal online meetings with them. I remember I sent the first mail on the 25th of March itself. The next day when after Modi ji, introduced the lockdown 1.0 on 24th night. So we were prepared. We were prepared to do whatever is possible from our end, and as partners in progress, like we call ourselves with all our customers. It is not just a supplier-customer relationship. I think these were the testing time. These are the testing times, I would say, and I think we are going ably well because we had prepared ourselves. A lot of online training has been done in the past. So our service people have conducted technical training programs with the customers. We are conducting technical training programs with our own engineers because these are our soldiers, who have always been in the field and they didn't get much chance, whenever the case of training came, they were always on the job. So we have been utilizing that because they get trained better and they again give it back to the customers. We have stocked parts because parts are going to be needed, quite extensively. And we have done two ways. We have also requested the customer to stock a little more, the way we are doing at our homes, for our day-to-day lives. And we are also bringing in extra parts. So at least the machines should not stop, for want of the parts. All commercially cleared orders, we have been discussing again and again with the customers to understand the pulse, understand the comfort level, and then only retune or refine our production back home. Because as I told you, we have 3 production hubs, so we need to coordinate between those 3 very, very well and very quite seamlessly. All the performance bank guarantees, advanced bank guarantees, wherever given, we have negotiated with our banks to ensure that we do it online through digital signatures, wherever possible. So we have evolved. There are certain new procedures, new SOPs which we have done for every operation, every process, to ensure that we are, everybody's alive to this situation. Everybody is working in sync, whether it is a third party, whether it is us, or the customers, or our own counterparts, in different parts of the world, because everybody has been psychologically affected, psychologically scarred. So people definitely need a psychological, treatment also. So I think that is something which Saurabh has been doing very, very effectively. Our top management has been in constant touch with all of us. We also have engineers who are outside, and I have been personally looking into their welfare. There are 3 people who are still outside, one in Vietnam, 2 in the African countries, and they're doing well. We brought back 8 engineers during Feb end, start March, just when Egypt, Iran, the whole thing erupted. So it was just like a film, film story. The way we coordinated with our embassy, Ministry of External Affairs. So we have been doing a lot of things, and it has been challenging. It has been exciting. It has been exhausting. But for the customer, we have always told them that we are on. We are there with you. We are 24/7 on. If there is anywhere where you need to have an emergency, they have the necessary contact numbers. So we are on a standby, for the customers. All kind of, in fact, we have deputed one of our engineers to one of our customers where, there have been autoconers who have already arrived 10 days ago. So we have organized for our engineer to go after taking full precaution. So of course, he will also be quarantined at the customer's place, which we have agreed, and then he will do the work. So nothing stops. There would be certain hiccups. There would be certain delays. But by and large, the customers are quite happy that we have handheld them, and we have proactively realized and understood the pitfalls and the shortcomings and the pressures which we would have. But with good teamwork and organization, we have been able to very successfully tide over that, at least till now. So much so. So the customers have been kept absolutely aware. Absolutely, all information is being shared. All the movement of their goods, the processing of their orders are shared. Wherever we have a delay, we are interacting with them, and they understand us. So I think it's it feels nice that when you are in a situation together, you are on the same boat. at different positions, but same boat. So I think we are sailing ably well now. Seas are rough, but we are together. Similar to what we did when they had to stop the machines, we also had all the SOPs ready, and we had distributed it much in advance. That whenever there is a necessity that the mills have to start, we are there again. So call on us, and I think online is the only way to to interact, and we have made it very effective through different kind of programs, either through WhatsApp, through phone calls, mails, and of course, you have Zoom now, or through Link, whichever electronic portal. But our engineers are in touch with their engineers at that, both from the quality level as well as from the mechanical starting level. And we know what kind of pitfalls they would face, because certain machines cannot be stopped totally. They have to be on standby mode, certain for certain CNC functions. So we have ensured that these machines have been stopped in a proper way, and they will also start in a proper way. Till now, God willing, we have not encountered a situation where the machine is not starting, or everything has got jammed, and the customer is in a lot of trouble, because they also are experts on their own field. They are in touch. I mean, they are with our machines 24/7, so they also know our machines equally well. So today is a time for good coordination. So we have been doing it. All the SOPs have been very strictly adhered to. We have asked our engineers, and both sales and service, because you talked about the human aspect. There is a lot of flutter, in the minds of the management, as well. You are already seeing the way the migrant workers are going, are trying to go to their own homes. It's a big situation. It's quite serious also from the COVID point of view. So these again put pressures on the mills that, hey, my people are going. I don't have much of a workforce. What do I do with that? So that's where we are trying to chip in by advising them on certain aspects which they have to look after. But by and large, the customers have now understood the point that they have nobody but themselves and ourselves, so that we together have to support, and we have to come out of the situation. There is not going to be any third party to come and save the situation. So like I always say to people, that all of us in our individual capacities have to make our own ark, the Noah's Ark, based on our size of operation, the kind of the typicality of our operations, the customers, end customers whom we have. How will a very efficient logistic system help in getting the goods out of the mills up to the endpoints? You are aware that the point of sale is almost closed. When I say point of sale, I'm talking about malls, shopping malls, even online shopping. Because ironically, we talk about roti, kapda, and makan as being the essentials as per even Maslow's model. But technically, textiles still is not coming under the essential goods. So, like I said, ironically, the technically textiles is not under essential items. Now, that being the case, there is no sale, and being no sale, the whole thing gets precipitated back, into the spinning zone. So, as spinning machinery manufacturers, we get hit very hard because if there is any such kind of a situation, capital goods are on hold. When the situation comes to normalcy, then also takes some time before which the purchase, the capital goods purchase decisions come. So all this have really put a lot of stress, in the whole system. In such points, it becomes very necessary for us to help out our customers. So, for example, we have a very nice package to help the customers to make surgical cotton, absorbent surgical cotton. Now, this was something which we were also not marketing very aggressively, because other solutions available in the market are quite costly. But I was pleasantly surprised this time when I was having a meeting with our Saurer counterparts, that we have a full-fledged system to manufacture the non-woven cotton wads from blow room up to the end product. So this is something which we are going to come out and also going to suggest to our customers. And I'm aware that many big groups are trying to get into this med tech, thing. So of course we don't have machines to make masks, like a non-woven mask, because that requires a different material, non-cotton, and a different machine. But on the cotton side, on the woven side, since even woven masks can do well, you will see that how companies like Trident, Wellspun, Vardhaman, Garg Acrylics, and so many companies, even Gokak Mills, all have now started making this as a product. This product is going to stay. So maybe we are also having internal thoughts on how to go about it. In fact, I was again quite pleasantly surprised when I saw my colleague from the embroidery business said, they have sent a, a software free of cost to the customers who have our embroidery machines. And with that, they are marking exactly the areas where the face masks have to be built. And then you can easily take it out, cut it, and then you can make it. So I we never thought that that kind of thing would come from an embroidery machine. So it was great. So all of us have been working to see how we can align ourselves, because it pays no sense to do the same thing again and again when the market has changed. New challenges have come, new products have come. There are going to be certain permanencies which are going to be seen, in your accessories which you have, and the face mask is going to be one of them. PPE, everybody is talking about PPE. Suddenly, from zero to a multi-thousand, industry it has become. I think it should grow. So we have to support that. Wherever our market intelligence is needed, we will do that. We will go beyond our call of duty. It is not just business with our customers, but to give them good engagement. And with that, we come back to our own drawing board to see whether we can include newer machines, whether we can make use of the existing machines to help out keeping our core competence, intact. So yes, even once the mills or the RMG units or the processing units, they are starting, they are starting in stepwise. But since we are in the short staple spinning series on the spinning mills, so all our regional managers are now actively engaged as I speak to you, talking to our customers, giving them certain psychological treatments, giving them technical solutions, commercial, flexibilities, wherever we can do, with mutual understanding and mutual convenience. So by and large, we have our customers covered. So we have all seen our Honorable PM's message to the nation yesterday. And I think one of the important things which came out was that be local, make local global, be vocal about the local, and also support and promote local. I think it's a very profound statement with very deep meaning and a very long-lasting strategy inbuilt into this, sentence. I think the time has come for entrepreneurship also to take a front seat. We have all been used to job seeking, and I think that's where the smaller players have an avenue today to grow and develop and also diversify. If you continue to do the same thing that you were doing, chances are that you will die. All of us, you, me, everybody, we have to acquire new skill sets. Skill minds, skill sets. This also applies to the individual, to the mill, an entity, and a corporate, and the public at large. So I think every mill has to really reinvent itself. They have to go back to the drawing board and say and ask themselves a question that, hey, if I continue doing this with a small size that I have, where do I land? So when I say diversify in the same premises, there is nobody stopping you from creating a small, say, a face mask unit or a small manufacturing unit, where you could diversify. You could use the same yarns, knit it. Today knitting machines are available for the asking. You can install there. Once you make a mask, it becomes a technical textile. So from a normal textile, you have already evolved into supplying technical textiles. You can avail of all the SOPs which are available under the TUF, which are not available to a standalone spinning mill. So I think we have to put all these ideas together, understand what kind of support you're going to get from the market, what are the demands of the market, and we have to evolve. So I think evolving is something which is going to go hand in hand with all of us. As machine suppliers, as manufacturers, we have to also look, in fact, when we had interaction even with our students, passed out students, because they are also in the same disarray. They do not know which way the world is going to treat them, and this kind of scars will remain for long. So we had a nice meeting organized by India ITME, where all of us came together, and we said that, guys, don't get scared that, okay, if I have done textile, I cannot go to a non-textile, or I cannot diversify into a non-wovens or some other avenues, which is going to give me a long-lasting return. So I think we need to diversify. There needs to be a lateral growth at mill level also. Mill will not remain a mill any longer. We will have to have a cluster of products to support each other, so that it averages out, its profits and its deliverances, even the workers. I was talking about multi-skilled workers. Now, in my plant itself, we had separate people for assembling for roving, ring, which we have now. But when the ring volume goes down, the same guys, we have trained them to also operate on our roving station, and then vice versa. So utilizing the same workforce, but doing things in a very diversifying manner. So mills, small or large, the smaller mills will get affected very fast, because the working capital, the cash management, they are quite frugal on that aspect. So the earlier they understand this aspect, get onto that bandwagon of the requirements or the new requirements which are coming in. Don't just keep beating the old drum, because it's not going to take you far. So we need to be diversifying, and this is what we are the encapsulation of our so many years of experience of having worked at different levels in different industries. This is where we as technocrats, as leaders, advisors, are advising different customers, because everybody cannot be given the same medicine. Everybody is in a different state of mind at different levels. Certain spinners are vertically integrated. Certain are only spinners. Now, where they are only spinners, the risk is more. Where they are vertically integrated, they can at least juggle between the products. Even within the products, they can come out with new avenues. I was very happy to see one of my my senior friends. He has developed a mask with a inbuilt filter. So and the filter is replaceable. The mask is washable. So so many ideas coming in so short a time, and which is nice. So we are known for our jugards, the frugal engineering, which we call. So I think frugal engineering also will be a great game changer for the small players. But I think the small players would be really doing a great human service to the country in the future to come. And with entrepreneurship being given a lot of emphasis, I think a lot of startups will slowly come out. People will slowly shed off that fear that, oh, I can't become an entrepreneur, or it is good that I'm in a job, because now it is the same scenario has shown. There are so many jobs which are already out. They are cut despite the government's notification not to retrench people, which we are of course following now. It's going to come. It's on the cards. It's going to come. So repetitive jobs are going to go. People who are not going to enrich their jobs and job profiles are really going to go. So it's not the fault of the company. It is the fault of the own, of the people at the personal level themselves. They're too laid back, to understand the situation and really grip it, and do something whereby there is some uniqueness which comes out of this exercise. So mills will have to diversify. They will have to look beyond the cloud of just sending or just selling the yarn at the mill gate. We have been too accustomed to do that. A mill guy will just want to send it to an agent, and then you're gone. But guys, you'll have to now come out of your mill gates. You'll have to go out into the market. You'll have to see what is there for you, grab that opportunity, develop a new team, diversify. So lateral growth for me, my message to the market would definitely be lateral growth. You need to grow laterally. I think automation is the key word at the moment, which everybody has no option now but to adopt, adapt, and then put it into practice. We are seeing that the government has asked the mills or the enterprises to start the mills or the plants with limited capacity. Now, when we are talking about limited capacity, that means for a particular capacity, you need certain basic number of people. If those number of people are not there, then those machines don't start. But if I have to increase my capacity to even then with the same workers to 80%, 90%, it very clearly means that some of the machines have to operate on their own. They have to also, interact between themselves, and they have to also come out with a product which is packed, ready to go. So that means we are talking about automation in a big way coming in. And Sorer is equipped with that. We have already started our automation department, and we have a lot of offerings which we can give to the customers based on the level of automation which they need, because every customer has a limitation to which they can go. The more you go into automation is, is a very nice looking word, but it gets more and more complex the more and more high levels of automation you would want to achieve. So you need to train your people. You need to have that kind of a mindset to understand that with flexibility will also come certain amount of complexity which you will have to inbuilt into your operations on a day-to-day basis, and you will have to have your teams ready and trained to handle this automation. So automation is there. We are going to suggest remote monitoring is another aspect which is which was already there but will become more active now, because travel is being restricted, but the machines have to run. How do you address machines? How do you address software issues which come? Mechanical, of course, there will have to be somebody there, but can we do it over online? So there's an expert sitting here, and there is the guy at the shop floor, and he gets the instructions and he keeps doing it. So it's like a doctor operating on a remote basis, getting advice from the specialists. So like I said earlier, the whole paradigm shift, which we did not hitherto look into, will come into practice. And we are also gearing ourselves how to very effectively address these issues where the mills do not sacrifice their efficiency, they do not sacrifice their productivity, their output. At the same time, they keep battling with the workers who are coming and going. They keep battling with the new situations, because nobody knew that COVID would create such a havoc in just 1 year. So what more to come? Yeah. So I think this has seasoned the mills. This will season the industry also. And newer ways of doing the same things effectively will come. Our machines, and when I say our machines, I'm talking about the entire machines, textile machines, which we are seeing. A lot of good technology and a lot of advancement in technology is already there. So whatever I'm speaking only has to be put into action more. The dependency on technology, on online, will be given more preference, and customers will be more interacting on these electronic platforms to effectively see that their mills or their enterprises are running seamlessly without the need for every engineer to come every now and then to support the machine. So support will be there, but it will be more electronic. It will be more remote distancing, but support will be there. But in all this, logistics will play a very, very important role. So logistics is one part where there has to be a partnership. The government, at the national level, the state governments at their level have to very actively look into this. The better, the more efficient the logistics, the cost of production, the cost of shifting the goods from here and there, all these costs will come down. And this will have a direct bearing on the prices. It will have a direct bearing on the commitments which you are going to have to the world, because slowly the world is now coming back to normalcy. Like I said, we will continue to live with this, but we will also have to continue working. So amidst all this, we will and we are going to have newer sets of procedures of how to handle the same business, how to handle the same transaction more effectively. So I think, like I said, all of us are learning. It's a learning phase for everybody. So from a simple exercise, that how to maintain social distancing in the plant when you have to lift an assembly together, and how can you maintain a distance of 1.5 meters? It's impossible. But we have found out a way of how to do it, coming together after you finish, and what are the things which you have to immediately go and do from a disinfectant point of view, from your masks, from your gloves point of view. So all those things are coming out. So by and large, I think we are okay. This initial turbulence will be there, but we will get settled. But it will take time. The turnaround will take time. It is not easy for everybody, because there are, like I said, there are different stages of adaptability which the mills have. Some have more because they have a nice team. They are more, they are globally exposed. They have good systems already inbuilt. So they are the people who will really come out of this. And Sorer, as machine suppliers, of course, we are there at their call. If there's any, and there have been, customers are interacting with us on how to better certain aspects of this machines, what kind of support we will be able to give it to them in the times to come. This is going to be an ongoing, continuous process. This partners in progress is going to happen. Relationship is going to be playing a very important role here. Everybody will have to extend, a little from what we are doing. I think we are, I mean, as machine suppliers and solution providers, we are there. We just need to have a call from the customers, and I think solutions are already there. We have to have certain assumptions as we talk about it. Say talking about the spinning industry where we are, the average market size till 2018 was around 2 million spindles. So then 2 million spindles, you balance it out machine wise, and then you have a lot of machines to sell, and then you go about doing your business. But to 2019, where the markets fell down to an extent of almost 50%. So what was 2 million became 1 million spindles. And this year, it doesn't show signs of increasing. It will only come down. So when I'm talking about a market size which has come down by 50%, how does one come back to the normal situation, like you said, and then grow further? So, we have already gone 3 steps back. When we have gone 3 steps back, we are also, we are facing a situation which is not in our hands actually. In such situations, the only way to go forward is to swim with the tide. Yeah, do your best, is to survive. Nobody's thinking about lifestyles anymore. We always say that today it's about saving life. Lifestyle is gone. So we have to be very particular and very practical about looking at things on whether we would be overdoing, or we would be overstating, or we would be understating. So both of them are dangerous at this point of time. For me, 2020, almost, we are at the half year. We will be at the half year shortly, and 2021 look to be flat. So it will not be very, very. I would not like to sound very optimistic that okay, we will bounce back and we will go ahead. So at least these 2 years will be quite not so good, because everybody is trying to, they will be trying to settle and then come back again and again, seek out the markets, and then, move forward. For example, our exports to China, we have seen that in the last 6 months, more than 35% of our exports have come back. Come back in the sense China is not accepting. So those yarns are also into the market. So there is a capacity, there's a surplus capacity already available. So when the market picks up, this capacity is available to the market. But unless and until the point of sale opens, people start buying, there is a demand in the market, and then the entire engine, of the entire textile value chain starts chugging along. It looks very simple, but it is not that. So yeah, 2020 will be gone, and a good part of 2021 also. By the end of 2021, if the capex expenditures of the groups of the industries, once they start loosening their purse strings, then only we will be in a position to understand that yes, they have been doing well during the year, and that's when their capital purchases start. So I will be looking at 2021, say later half of 2021, to say that we could start coming back again, to that place where we left it here, and then take a jump. So in this process, a lot of cleaning will happen. There will be a lot of mills or enterprises who will not be able to really survive, and there will be a demand. So the laws of elasticity of demand, will come. So yeah, 2020 and 2021 is somewhere we will have to really, mend our nets, and then we can go to the seas to fish again. This is how, to me, it looks like. Play our cards well, and I say it with a lot of conviction and belief. India is going to really play big in the 10 years to come. Leave aside these 2 years, 2020 and a good part of 21. We are going to, we have the capability to make it big, really big. Yeah, so much so that we will have our hands full. We will be, the economy will be chugging along. There'll be an employment which will be coming back again. We will be moving up the ladder, on the per capita, consumption, GDP, everything, provided India plays its cards well. When I say that, you see, somebody's loss is somebody's gain. And unfortunately, this time, China is at the receiving end. You call it political, you call it, geopolitical, you call it whatever way you call it. The countries or the world at large is not very happy in the way whatever has happened with, these corona originating from China and doing so much of devastation. So there already have been countries who have been very vocal, like Japan was one of the first to ask their companies to exit and come. So they are looking for a place, and which better place than India? So here is where the government, from its foresightedness, administrative skills, the diplomacy skills which it has to grab this opportunity with both hands and make way, simplifying the process of setting up a plant here or a business enterprise here, whether it is small, medium, or large, with very active participation from the state governments. I'm very emphatic when I talk about this partnership, because I've seen it faltering in the beginning when I've been seeing notifications being issued by the central government, and at ground zero level, things were not moving. And then they had to come out with another notification to say, guys, we need to coordinate more and more. You see, so the vision has to be percolated down, like in any company, even in a country. It has to be, everybody has to work in a sync. Everybody has to be, with the hands that, yeah, I need it. This is my opportunity. I need it. So we need to see that thing it's not that, okay, Gujarat gets something, Maharashtra gets something. The whole country, has to do it. Even places where hitherto industries were not going, like Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, these are now the new, virgin territories, like Vietnam, globally. Earlier, before that, it was Bangladesh. Uh, these kind of states, they are, they are so-called hinterlands, which have to be again brought back into the industrial focus. That's where the workers are, my friends. All the migration which is taking place is their people are going back to their homes. So if you set up a unit there, you don't have this problem at all. And that's where big RMGs I have seen, and now you are seeing Jharkhand has become quite a hub of all the major RMG manufacturers. So I think this is where it's not just setting up a national textile fund. It is not about setting up a textile policy. It's about looking that looking farther into the horizon, coming back and giving an investor everything on a platter to ensure that he or she feels privileged to come here, they feel safe, and they know that there is a very stable political climate available for me to expand my business enterprise. If India is able to do that, I'm telling you that nothing can stop us from becoming that next superpower, which all of us, have dreamt all these years. You see, US with all its missiles and defense system had to request Modi ji for that drug. Yeah, so that's the sense of helplessness which a country will have if they have not set their sights right. So I think India, you will see in this time to come. I'm not just talking about the normal textiles, but the other opportunities which have evolved because of the situation. India is going to really respond, and respond very, very well. So yes, I say it now that these next 10 years are going to be very critical for India, and they are going to take India on a different level. So I have full faith in my statements as I say that.